Right, so it's Friday night, just got to the car park and looks like it's quite a busy one. I believe there's about 7 people on already, me making it 8. So just going to have a quick mooch around, see what's about, see where the empty spaces are, where I'm going to slot in. I did arrange with Matt to jump into the swim next door, but someone's already in there, so we might even go and double up here. I'm going to go and have a look in that swim, see what kind of water we got to play with, but I think we're going to treat this one as a bit of a social, bit of celebration from my obviously recent good news, bit of grub, and see what happens really. We've got a storm moving in this weekend, so we're meant to have some pretty high winds, but as you can see, barrows all loaded up, got a load of new bait to try out, so less talking, let's get these barrow wheels moving. Let's go and see what's about, and hopefully I'll catch up with you a little bit later on. It's going to be a bit of a mission because obviously it's just coming up to 5 o'clock. It's probably like an hour or so left of light before that starts to disappear. So let's get going, and I'll catch up with you a little bit later on through the evening and let you know where I am and what's happening and what I've done with my rods. So I'll catch up with you in a bit. Right, so we've decided on swim. I'm going to double up with Matt. This swim is more than big enough to take both of our rods. He's got his going off towards the left, so I've got a lot of water in front of me to explore. So we got into the swim, quickly punished Matt for his deeper, and we had a little play around for 5-10 minutes. He's actually fishing sort of between 14 and 15 wraps, and there's a nice clear run before you whip the rod in and it hits a real shallow bank bed of weed, which is enough to clog the lead up. So what we're going to do is just fish off the back of that. So I've decided the range. I'm going to fish 15 wraps on all my spots. I'm going to have 2 going out in front. I've got my markers, and they're going to go out on solid bags, and I've got a right hand rod which is going to go out just off to the right. Again, I've got a marker that's going to go on a hinge stiff rig, and then just put some freebies out of a throwing stick around it. So it's getting dark now, probably got about half hour, 45 minutes of light. I'll quickly just bang the brolly up and stuff like that, because now that I've found my spots, they're going down so firm, I'm going to know, cast out in the dark, that when they drop down, as long as it's hitting the clip, that's going to be going down firmly and presentable. So I'm not that bothered about getting the rods out just yet. I'm going to get myself all organised and get all the rigs and stuff like that set up. So let's get everything else sorted now, and I'll catch up with you a little bit later on. So tactics I changed for this session, going on last session, and I decided to opt for the solid bag approach. Now obviously with my sponsorship this week and stuff, I've been sent 101 different things, so decided to try a couple of solid bags on 2 rigs and then stick with the hinge stiff, because that went off last time and I managed to obviously nail one. But it's a solid bag that's done me proud this week. So here we go, the reward. Nice 27 pound 4 ounce mirror. Look at that one, chunky little thing. Give me off a few beeps to start with, and then just a 1 toner. 27 pound 4. Taking on a yellow juice 10mm dumbbell pop up in a solid bag of the 2mm krill pellets and the fish meal micro pellet. These are perfect for the solid bag, because they can pack down really nicely and you can punch them out. I'm only fishing sort of 15 wraps just behind, like I say, a real sort of light shallow weed bed. But look at this one, 27 pound 4 ounces, first fish on the new bait, and first fish of the session. Absolutely made up with this one. Absolute screamer to start with. and then it just come in like a sack of potatoes, just staying low, plodding around. So I'm going to slip him back, catch up with you in the morning, grab some stills, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing with the solid bags and the rig and stuff like that. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow, guys. Morning, so Saturday morning, and what a good morning it is. Matt next door's crying because he's had slugs all over his mug, which he's trying to palm off to me for this morning's brew, which ain't happening. Literally one in the bottom and one right around the rim, so game over. I'm not having that mug ever again, regardless. Yeah, last night managed eventually to get the rods out. Oh, what a mission, like, obviously because it's getting early, dark so early now, and that was a mission and a half getting the rods out. Matt's obviously here a little bit earlier in the afternoon, and has found a nice clear area, sort of 14 wraps out, nice sort of stretch of clear area just behind a sort of 10-12 inch deep weed bed. So we quickly got his deeper out to save any disturbance, freshen the lead around and stuff, put it out to the same distance in front of me, and that sort of clear area still runs across in front of me as well. So that was kind of like my decision made for me, really. Just put 3 rods out, spread out along that same sort of line. Oh, absolute mission of a nightmare. First time ever cracking off as well with one of the solid bags, so had to redo a whole rod as well, but eventually got them all out. And yeah, 4:30 this morning, I had a one tone, well, sort of 3 or 4 beeps and an absolute one toner, which resulted in that 27-pound 4-ounce mirror. So you see in the background, little victory flags flying this morning. And Matt's thinking about getting on the solid bag tactics, and I'll probably end up giving him a bit of a tuition on sorting them out as well. So just had to get all 3 rods in because the resident swan decided to come and wipe me out as well. So I did have to put back to the car anyway, but yeah, that's kind of made my decision of whipping the rods in a little bit easier. I'm going to convert this one, the hinge stiff rig that I had out, going to convert that into a solid bag as well. So all 3 of them going to be on solid bag arrangements. Had that fish on last night, 10mm, the juice pop-up, dumbbell pop-up. Now I'm going to stick all 3 out on yellow today, because 2 weeks ago on this session, on this lake, on my last session, I had that 24-pound common on a yellow pop-up. This this weekend already, obviously I've gone and had another fish on yellow, which may have just been coincidence, or may be a reoccurring theme, but I'm going to go with maybe 2 on yellow now and 1 on one of the other colours in the pot, and just see what happens. And again, if I get another one on yellow, then all 3 get converted to yellow. So just got to try and work it out what they want, and sort of what colour on this lake as such really works. So going to get Matt to get me a brew on the go on a different carp, not that manky slug one. Get these rods sorted a little bit later on when this wind and stuff comes in, so obviously we're meant to be getting the old tail end of this Hurricane Brian or whatever it's called. I'll sort of do a dummy setup of what I've got on my rods and stuff like that, show you the bait I'm using and whatever else, and so no doubt we're going to be probably brolly bound by then, but that's enough for me for now this morning. Even I'm bored of the sound of my voice. I need coffee and I need to get these rods sorted, so I will catch up with you a little bit later on. Right, so just before I stick this last rig into the solid bag, I thought I'd give you a quick rundown about how I've gone about setting up my rod and the solid bag setup, and what I've done with my rig basically. So I'll just flip the camera around and show you the components that make up my solid bag rig. So you've got the quick link swivel there, so that allows you just to hoop the loop of the rig directly on there and just put a little mini sleeve over it, obviously just for efficiency of removing rigs, doing quick bags and stuff like that. Not that my solid bag rigs are being done at any pace at the moment. Inline lead, 2.5 ounce inline lead onto a solid bag, quarter solid bag tail rubber. That is those ones there. They just give you basically a little bit more play with the actual solid bag to be able to just lick and stick around the stem. Just gives you a little bit more leeway rather than trying to, you know, just get it on a little bit of coating of the insert that they leave hanging out the end. And then that just goes up to the standard rig tubing. Obviously I don't use anything else, no leaders or anything like that, because they're just standard setup for me on the leg clip system and the tubing. So that allows me just to quickly cut off the lead clip system, just feed that up the line, and then I'm onto a solid bag setup. So it's really quick, really efficient. If you do use like leaders and stuff like that, obviously leadless leaders, they've obviously got loops and stuff spliced in the end, so you can just tie directly onto them. But yeah, I've just converted my leg clip setup into a solid bag setup for this session, and probably most sessions going forward down this lake. So onto the rig. That is soft end trap, £15 in weedy green. It's pretty much standard colour for me. So that's just about, I don't know, 5 inches long, something like that. All the coating's still on there because I still think it's still supple enough just to go inside a solid bag. I've not stripped any off apart from a little break just there. That just allows a little bit of movement for the pop-up, just to twizzle around if need be. There's a tiny little bit of putty there just to keep that lot pinned down. Not that it really needs much, because obviously it's going to be under a better pellet anyway. That is going on to a quarter size 6 choddy. Using the choddy just because it's got the outturned eye, which I feel like the line coming out of the eye just gives it that natural kick, so it don't need any shrink tubing or anything like that. And that's one of the new, I would say new to me, but 10mm the Juice Bait Tech dumbbell pop-ups. That's the bait that done me the fish last night. So 2 of these bags will have the yellow one on it, and got pink going on the other one as well. So 3 solid bag setups now converted from the hinge stiff rig that I put out last night. Just going to get this one tied up and then get them all 3 out onto the range of 15 wraps, and see what the day brings. So obviously I'll catch up with you a little bit later on through the day if anything occurs. Right, so quick little update from us two. Nothing else has happened. We've redone our rods sort of just after 12 o'clock and put fresh new solid bags out. Well, I did anyway. Matt obviously freshened up his rigs and put them out as well. I put 3 solid bags out, same range. Change the hook bait colours on all the rods again, just to see if, you know, that's the little difference that would buy me another fish, but nothing's happened. This time I used some nutty oil rather than the tuna and krill oil. Again, just for a little tweak, a little change, just to see if that'll bring in any fish within the vicinity, but they haven't even been interested in that yet. So probably going to give it, it's just gone 3 o'clock, so probably just going to give it another hour or so. This wind is still pretty much hacking the length of the lake. We did have a bit of a downpour and stuff earlier as well, but that rain seems to have subsided for the moment, but it is still really windy. I've just tied up a new rig, new little wafter rig, and again tonight just going to ring the changes. Just going to go with a little triple M wafter on this rod, on one of them, again in a solid bag, maybe just some 10 mils and some sort of just crush with my fingers baits inside, again with the pellet as well, but this time, like I say, with a triple M wafter. And I've tested that in in a pot, and that looks like it's got fish written all over it, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna put that out, put 2 out on yellow, because obviously that's what I had my fish on last night, and see what happens from there, I guess. Like I say, there's nothing really else, anything else happening around the lake. No one else is catching. I think one of the guys had a fish down on the point to swim yesterday, but apart from that, we've not really seen anything either. This morning we did see, like I say, a few shows from sort of my swim left, so they were up here this morning, but we've not seen anything else sort of throughout the day. Let's flip the camera around. You can just see, like I say, it is pretty full on out there at the moment. The wind is literally hacking from right to left. Trees are sort of bent double, but these two are enjoying themselves anyway. They've had a laugh. They've been scrapping non-stop. Half an hour's rest, scrap again. So yeah, they're having fun. But yeah, this wind is absolutely howling through here. Luckily, like I say, we're pretty much on the side of it, and we've got shelter from some trees to the left-hand side. So we're pretty lucky in that sense. I can't imagine it's too pretty down on that other end. But yeah, gonna give it an hour, get this one on one of the rods, get the other 2 in as well. Fresh baits, fresh oil, fresh pellet in the bags, get them back out, and then that's going to be sorted for the night then. So fingers crossed I can nick another one through the night. But if anything happens, then obviously between then and now, obviously we'll get the camera on straight away. But yeah, that's the plan of action. So I'll catch up with you a little bit later on in. Sunday morning, and it is fresh. That wind has swung round, blowing right into our faces sort of through the night and this morning. So it's what was that southwesterly hacking down that other end, it's swung round into our faces, more of like a westerly / northwesterly, and yeah, it's not the warmest. Nothing to report through the night. Really quiet. I think I heard a couple of beeps on my own rods, but literally that could have been, you know, anything. Usually on this lake, single beeps then turn into absolute melters, but all quiet in this camp. Yeah, not really too sure what to say, to be honest. We did hear a couple of boshes just as we sort of retired to the sacks and stuff, and they sound like they were coming from the left-hand side area again, where they were sort of Friday night. So hoping that if the fish have been on the back of this strong wind, whether they're going to, you know, mooch out again through the hours of darkness. But yeah, nothing seemed to materialise. Got my coat on this morning, bobble hat, beanie hat. Yeah, it's not the warmest. Got a couple of brews on the go, and Matt's just on the in the process of packing down slowly. I think I'm going to maybe give it to about, I don't know, 12ish, see if anything happens. But yeah, I'll just flip the camera around. You can have a little look at this morning. There's not really much going on, if I'm honest. All quiet. Again, it is quite a busy weekend. There has been sort of, well, I think I was the 8th person on the lake once I turned up Friday after work, so it has been quite a busy one. But again, I think it's been really slow, so I'm happy with, you know, the one fish that I have caught. It's just a shame that the tactics couldn't materialise and brought in more fish. But just gonna have these brews, whip the rods in, fresh bags, bang them back out, and then that'll be them until until a few hours time hopefully, and then I'll be going home myself. Got a few odd jobs and stuff I need to sort out this afternoon, few bits and pieces, so I'm not going to long it out, because like I say, action is really slow. But what I might do as well, just run through my solid bag contents a little bit later on when I'm doing these rods, just so you can see how I'm tying, how I'm doing and what I'm doing. and the gear that I'm putting inside them, that the guys that obviously Bait Tech have kindly sent me this week. So, you know, we can run through that a little bit and show you how I managed to catch that fish on Friday night. But for the moment, just going to enjoy this brew, warm up a little bit, and then I'll catch up with you a little bit later on through the morning in a few hours time, and see if we can nick ourselves a final fish. So yeah, I'll catch up with you in a bit. Right, so 20 minutes ago you would have seen I was back in the other swim saying I was going to chuck out 3 solid bags just as I, you know, do a slow pack down over a few hours, but decided get everything on the barrow, and I'm in another swim. So decided to come round right off the back of this wind where we'd heard and kind of seen fish show last night, and I think what I'm going to do is just drop out 3 solid bags, just kind of fan them out in this area where, you know, where we've sort of seen and heard them, and hopefully be able to nick a bonus fish. There's a lot of water, as you can see, like one's going to go out here, maybe one sort of down off this tree, and then one out into this corner open water. It's got to be worth a go. Obviously sat over there, it's not comfortable, that wind's right in your face, it's a cold wind, and now obviously I'm right off the back of it here. It's a deeper bit of the water, it's not seen none of this wind this weekend either, so, and obviously we've seen and heard fish down in this area. So I'm going to crack on, get 3 bags made up, get the rods out, and what I can do then is maybe talk you through bits and pieces, you know, about my solid bag contents and stuff like that. But it feels like, you know, it feels a lot warmer on this bank, so hopefully we can nick ourselves a bonus fish. Right, so 2 or 3 rods have gone out, 1 cast absolutely perfect into the deeper water. Just going to run you through really how I'm making my solid bags for this session. Now, first thing is, everything's got to be dry. Your fingers, the terminal tackle end, everything needs to be bone dry. So whether you just pat it down with a towel, I just tend to sort of pat it down with a towel, or even just run it through like your bucket of pellet, just so it takes on the sort of dust of the pellet. This needs to be absolutely boneless, because any little bit of moisture, damp or wet, is going to make this solid bag stick before you've even got started. So first tip is obviously just get any wet off the terminal tackle end, make sure that's bone dry. Next I'll just get this solid bag and just also give that a little rub around in the pellet, and again that'll just take the dust of the pellet and it make it a little bit more pliable in your fingers when you're pushing in your rig and stuff like that. So just give it a little blow to open it up, and then I tend to get the hook bait and stick it in one of the corners of your choice. Can be a bit fiddly, like I'm no solid bag expert, but I can get one down pretty tight, so I like to make sure it's, you know, absolutely cock on as best as it can be, because it's obviously, if you're going to be chucking at 80 yards, 100 yards, it needs to be bulletproof really. So you just get your, as you can see there, rig in one corner, just lay it down nicely, all flush along the bottom. So once I've done that, I'll just get a little small handful of pellet, just dribble it in there, just so it keeps that rig in place. Just dribble that in, and as you can see, there's, you know, a centimetre of that. It's just keeping that rig in place, and then that'll allow you just to fill up the rest of the solid bag, sort of, I don't know, 2/3 of the way full. And once that's 2/3 of the way full, you can think about then dropping your lead in. So there we go, just building that up with the pellet slowly, there's no rush. So there we go, so 2/3 full. What I'll do then is just drop the rig in into the bag itself, just nuzzling it down, giving it a little pat, like I say, just nuzzling it down into the pellet, just filling up all those little holes inside this solid bag, because you want it nice and compact and tight. So once that's in place, just give the lead a little push down, just so it's, like I say, nice and tight, surrounded by those pellets. Giving it a pat. That's going to all stay in place down the bottom there, that rig, because obviously it's got those pellets and stuff like that sort of all around it anyway. We're just going to give it a little bit more pellet, because there's probably like a few more mils that I can just squeeze in there. Because as you're compacting it, obviously all the pellets are just taking up that little bit of space within the bag, so you can you know, just keep adding it to the bag until you feel like you've got enough enough give on the top of the bag to play with, to twist it around the solid bag stem. So that's enough for me. So you've got two choices here. You can either just do the lick and stick method, or you can obviously cut a piece of PVA tape off, give yourself, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches, so you've got enough to play with. Twizzle it around and then tie it, or like I say, or you can do the lick and stick and just dab your fingers and lick your fingers and twizzle it around the stem, which I'll do now just for example. So there you go, so you're just licking, sticking, and that will grip the solid bag stem. Now it'll become nice and tacky. So as you can see, that's stuck itself around the stem of the solid bag lead, and that's all compact in there. That ain't going anywhere. It's like rock hard. And then once that's all done, you need to lick and stick the ends. So just nuzzle in the hook bait, just push it in a little bit, like I say, again taking up all that extra little bit of space, licking it, sticking it down. Again for the other end, push them little pellets into the corners, little lick, pushing it down, squeeze, and there you go. Look, that end is literally as compact and as tight as you like. That ain't going anywhere. So that's again helping for the casting purposes, aerodynamic, you know, no flailing ends or this or that. That's just literally going to be punched out like a massive lead. You just imagine that as a massive lead. That's going to go, you know, as far as you can whack it, because that's so compact and tight. So what I'll do now is just show you what I'm doing with the oils and squirting that into the bag. So the pellets I've been using for the solid bag and the main content of the solid bag are the Bait-Tech krill pellets. Now these are 2mm, and as I was saying, making the solid bag, it needs to be made down compact and tight. So you don't really want bulky big items in there, and if you are going to use them, you need it to be obviously less than the actual pellet makeup, because you want to be able to compact that bag down nice and tight, ready for casting. So got the 2mm Bait-Tech krill pellets, and then big old 2 kilo bag of the Bait-Tech carp pellets, the fish meal micro pellets. Now again, tiny, small, little pellets just to bulk out and fill all those little nooks and crannies of that bag. So what I was saying about as the the bag itself and injecting it with oil, I've also got the matching oil, which is the Bait-Tech krill and tuna oil. So obviously some of those tiny little pellets in there are the krill pellets, so this is going to work perfectly. This stuff is also PVA friendly, so you're not going to squirt it into your bag and then it's going to melt on you before you've even dropped it out. So this will allow you enough time to squirt it in, and then obviously get it out onto your spot before the bag's mounted behind your shoulder. So what I've done, as I mentioned before, been down to the supermarket, got myself a syringe. All I'm doing, because it doesn't take a lot less than 5mm to get into these bags really, so just giving it a little pour into the lid. Just got a lid full. Just pop it down onto a flat surface. It makes it a lot easier. Pulling the syringe back, and as you can see, it's inside the syringe. Now all I'm going to do is just literally stab that syringe tip into the bag, just create a little hole, and then slowly just squirt that in. You don't want to go mega fast, and as you can see, that is literally just dispersing into the bag, and you'll see it as you're pushing it in, just going throughout the whole of the bag. There we go, look, finished article. That ain't going to leak out, that's just literally soaking in all around the back of the bag. And that's going to add oils, attraction, pull fish in from afar, create a slick on the water surface, and hopefully, add an element of attraction to your area of your single solid hook bag, wherever you decide to place it. So I'm now going to get this one out into the desired area, and let's see if we can catch ourselves some fish. Right, so as you can see, the rod's gone out, and I'll just show you where I've kind of decided to put each rod, really, just trying to cover all angles if I'm honest. So left-hander, just going off over here, just a light chuck really, sort of in this zone. Got the middle rod, which is just being pretty much dropped in this area here, where these birds are starting to kind of congregate as such. And then I've done a cheeky one, my right hander, just walked around the edge of this tree, just lowered it into sort of this gap here, just in case anything does fancy a little mooch up and down this margin. Just walked around in here, underarmed it, and just passed my rod back through to myself here and lowered it down. Now I know all these margins and this lake in general, they've all had any sort of roots and debris and all of that sort of stuff, any snags all removed from the margin, so I know that's clean. It's gone down relatively firmly, so it'll be presentable down there. Nice little parcel of bait, all that oil leaking off it, and just one little Juice 10mm pop-up dumbbell just sat amongst it. So something visual, something smelly, something oily, little pellets, just a little mouthful. If something does get up and down this margin and come from sort of down that right hand side, down underneath this tree, then there's a bag down there, and hopefully they'll just come across that and fancy that if they get anywhere in the area of this. So I've tried to cover, like I say, 3 different areas out in that sort of bay area, out in the open water where we believe to see them, or them to be congregated last night, and then one in the margin. So you can only try. I'm going to give it a few hours. I've got nothing else I did have a few things to do, but I'll just I'll just push them back. It's no big deal. I'd rather, it'd be silly of me to make the most of a day really when the weather ain't that too bad. It's not peeing down with rain and all that sort of stuff. So it's off the back of the wind. It's a lot warmer than sat over on that other side, and obviously we've done 2 nights over there for 1 fish. Now him, where are we? He's been a right pain in the backside, I tell ya. He's already tried to do me on these 3 rods that I've put out already. So bloody things. But fingers crossed, the move and putting the rods out for a few extra hours might do me a fish, but we can only try. It's been better than sat at home, isn't it, and better than sat at work. So let's see what happens over the next couple of hours. I'm going to sit down, make a brew, and I'll catch up with you if anything happens over the next few hours. Well, the afternoon is slowly drifting away, and got absolutely nothing to report. Not seen anything, not heard anything. If anything, it's just got colder. Just literally finishing up the last of my brew. No milk left, no coffee left, no nothing, no fish left. Don't know what's going on, but that temperature has proper dropped. Don't know if you can see up from the sky, but really cleared out, clear blue skies, and it is feeling fresh. I've been recovering this week from cold, like man flu, and as you can tell from my voice anyway, I'm not 100%, but yeah, this wind is it's a bit on the chilly side. So I'm just going to finish up this one, flip the rods over and leave them on the deck, obviously, as always. But the chances of probably getting the camera back on before the end of the session are looking pretty slim. But as always, thanks for watching this video. It is a water that I intend on getting down throughout the winter, because like I say, I've got the ticket until the end of March, so I do intend on sort of treating it as maybe like my winter water, just for the hope of more of a bend in the rod, because of obviously the fact that it's got a bit more stock than my usual waters. And it is a really nice lake with a lot of space for anglers, rather than fighting the masses down at day tickets. So I'm going to sort these rods out. Again, thanks for watching. Any comments, leave below. Likes, pop over to my Facebook and come and say hello. Always happy to chat about anything carpy. just want to say a massive thank you again for Bait Tech. I know I've, you know, mentioned it a couple of times already, but, you know, massive thanks to them guys for giving me the opportunity of using their bait and stuff like that, and the things that are going to be happening throughout the year. I am more than over the moon about, you know, being chosen for their sponsored angler for a year, and it means that it does really mean a lot. So, you know, you will see their bait in all of my videos, and I will just, rather than, you know, ramming it down your neck, I'll just be telling you what I'm doing with the bait and how I'm sort of using it in my own fishing, etc., and how I'm using it hopefully to my success. I've obviously used some of the bits this weekend which I found suited to the tactics that I've wanted to fish, and obviously they've worked for me on this occasion with that 27-pound mirror. So yeah, I'm looking forward to using all their different bits and pieces in all different ways, and hopefully can share the successes along the way with you guys as well. But I'm just going to try and soak up some of this sun and warm up a little bit, finish off packing away the last little bits, and I'll hopefully catch up on the bank with you sometime soon. But thanks for watching guys, I'll catch up with you all soon. Come and say hello, like I say, at any time of the day. I'm more than willing to chat anything fishy with you. So let's get these rods sorted and done for another weekend. Finish this coffee. See you later guys.